And hello, happy Tuesday to you. This is Tom Gibson with my co-host Chuck Augustin, and this is Nye County. And it still will be tomorrow, I guess.
Yes, it's tax day, the 18th. So a lot of depression. Tom told me this is the worst month for all kinds of bad stuff, right?
I read an article. I don't know how true it is. It could be fake news. All news is fake news nowadays. But what I read was that there's more tragedies, more suicides, more, and it's not just human cause. It's also natural disasters happen in the month of April than in any other month. So anyway, that said, that's we were chatting about earlier is why this has been so weird. I mean, even we're only halfway through the month, and I've had, a lot of weird things. I mean, it's not been a disaster by any stretch of the imagination, but I've had a lot of people come into my office with really bad problems and all recent bad problems. So anyway, that said, hello, April.
Yeah. Well, I'm sick of the wind. My allergies go crazy, and today was one of the worst winds. But anyway, the lines are open. Give us a call with something you want to talk about. Hope Ray's here tonight. He was sick last month, so we missed him and missed his questions. So let me start off the show with the commissioners meeting today, the county commissioners. It's the first and third Tuesday of every month at the Eye of Calvada, and it starts at 10, and I highly recommend people to show up. One of the major issues that has surfaced, it did today at the meeting, and I wrote a thing for the Mirror. Hopefully they'll publish them. But anyway, it's regarding public comments. And the way it used to be was at the beginning of the meeting, they allotted 3 minutes per person to basically get up in front of the commission and talk about something that they're concerned about or interested in or special events that are going on or whatever. Well, about 6 months ago, or maybe less than that, they did away with that at the beginning of the meetings and moved it only to the end. Now, you still can comment on individual agenda items, but not the general public comments. And I think it's horrible. Certainly today they brought up that, people in Clark County can't even get commissioners on the phone and that. But this isn't Clark County, this is Nye County, and that's why we moved here, a lot of us, because it is a rural place where you can participate in your government the way I think it was intended to. And I think every commissioner should encourage people to talk, to hear their views, their complaints, whatever. That's really what a representative
and you know why they did that is that, because the idea, the theory behind the open discussion is that, this is your chance to get on your soapbox and talk, and It's the perfect place to do it. I understand also, though, because I've been through some of those meetings, and you're waiting for agenda items to come up, and you're held back by somebody yammering on about, pigeons pooping too much on their cars and how they should all be arrested and sent to the Bastille, on and on and on. So it's,
Yeah.
So it's a mixed bag. It's kind of a small blow to public expression, but it's a huge sigh of relief to the commissioners because most of these windbags that have nothing to say but just to yammer don't want to stick around till the end of the meeting.
I vote for the public, so I think the commissioners should tolerate the stuff. It's only 3 minutes. Ray, we got you on the phone, buddy. Glad to hear you.
Yeah, Ray the Flagman reporting in as scheduled. I agree with what you're saying as far as that public comment, but you guys might make note that I got in big trouble for public comment when I criticized the Justice Court for these catch-up weeks. I see people that have to sit in custody for weeks after they're supposed to be seen because they take time off to catch up on paperwork. It's absurd. When I made this point to the commissioners, I got chewed out by a judge and almost got locked up because I talked to the commissioners in public comment. Now, what is this? I cannot go to public comment and make a statement and then go in a courtroom and not be criticized for doing it? I mean, this is how bad it is. And let me tell you about these in custodies. I sat through with custodies today. People have been locked up since last Thursday. There were 15 of them in front of Sullivan. Nobody got OR'd. They all have to put up bond. I think 2 of them lucked out where they paid a fine and he cut them loose. But this is another thing. They're not giving ORs to people. Everybody has to put up a bond. If they don't have the money for the bond, they'll sit forever. In room A, that would be Sullivan's, you got to wait 7 days for them to file charges. You're sitting, even though you haven't been convicted of anything, you're locked up, you don't have bond. In room B, that's Jasperson's, you got to sit 3 days if they file charges. It's completely not fair to anybody, and it hurts me to see all these people locked up, pleading to get out, and yet they keep saying, well, you got to put up the bond, you got to put up the bond. And what people don't know is there's a kickback when you put up the bond of $50 to the Justice Court. And that may be one of the reasons why they're insisting on bond. What about it, Mr. Gibson? You're aware of that, right?
Yeah, but I'm also aware of the fact that historically, fines are what many communities, especially the larger communities, rely on for their infrastructure payments. So that's why, if anyone ever wondered why the judge always believes the cops in these, these justice court cases, is because they don't really believe them. But hey, when a person's found not guilty, how much money do you think goes into the county coffers?
Yeah, you got a point there. Yeah, got a point. Well, and what's happening with traffic is ridiculous now. I sit in; they're ticketing people for. They ticket people for illegal parking, even though there's no signs or anything else. But the motorcycle cops are the most egregious on this one. And one cop even told a woman, "The sheriff has told us to give these parking tickets, fight it out in the court if you want." A lot of people just pay them. It's $120, $120. But it's ridiculous what's going on. And also, if a car is driving and one of the tires touches the bike lane, the motorcycle cops nail them and give them a ticket. And they've been throwing some of them out because they figure this is ridiculous. A tire touches a bike lane, no bike in the lane, but because you touched that lane. It's revenue enhancement, and it's out of control, gentlemen. It's out of control.
Also, Ray, do you remember before the present administration in the sheriff's office, this kind of silliness never happened? When I was at the DA's office, there were motorcycle cops. Actually, Judge Jasperson was one of the motorcycle cops, but there wasn't this aggressive traffic enforcement that there is now, and that cuts both ways. Some people think it's a wonderful thing because aggressive traffic enforcement leads to more revenue. It also leads to finding people who have committed other crimes in their course of investigation. That's all. That's one theory. The other theory is that the aggressive enforcement, all that does is just increase the police presence in people's lives, that people were happy as hell not to have that cop there before they got pulled over.
Yeah. Well, I seen one today that I really thought was absurd. The guy was locked up. He didn't show up for court. He was supposed to bring in proof of insurance. And he told the judge, he said, "Look, I can't get the proof of insurance. My insurance company didn't send it to me. I went to the DMV. They said I was insured with this company when I got the ticket." Well, the judge said, "Well, how do you want to plead?" He said, "Well, I'm going to plead not guilty," but he's locked up now, and he's going to sit. And the judge says, "Well, you're not guilty of what?" "Well, I'm not guilty of driving without insurance because I had insurance. The charge is failure to provide proof of insurance." And he said, "Well, I'm guilty of that. I didn't have the coupon or whatever." So he got fined $750 and they cut him loose. He doesn't know that his license will be suspended for 1 year for pleading guilty to that charge. You're aware of that, right, Tom? Oh,
yeah, and that's what the problem most people have with this is that whenever you get a no insurance citation, that if you don't get it pled down and you are found guilty of it, then you will suffer because your license will be suspended for a year. And do you think the average citizen, because it's the people we're talking about here, it's not the court, it's not the cop, it's the people. Do you think the people appreciate other people getting beat up on? And I don't think this is ever brought to their attention, though.
What about
Hey, Ray, hang on a minute. I got a question. You said that a guy didn't have proof of insurance and he's going to lose his license for a year?
Yeah, they'll suspend you for 1 year. DMV will.
For
because
that?
he did not
Correct.
provide proof of insurance.
If you're found guilty of not having insurance, if you have insurance and then you can come back and say, oh, here's my proof, and they'll reduce it down to no insurance on person. But
And that's you don't lose.
No,
Okay.
but if you do not have insurance, these people, they're like, I
yeah,
can't afford
right,
$750. Well, I'm sorry, I can't afford insurance. Well, try not affording $750.
Well, they do allow them, Tom, to get insurance after the fact, and I think it's reduced to $195, and it's a one-time, where you don't lose your license. You can get it for $195 fine.
No, and what a good attorney will normally do is try to reduce those down, regardless of whether, even if a person has no insurance whatsoever. And the DA's office is pretty good about it because it doesn't behoove them to have people hoofing it and not able to drive and then picking up new tickets. It's a vicious cycle. So what is done is traditionally is you approach the prosecutor and say, hey, look, can we reduce this down to something else, something that's not going to be no proof of insurance. And then what we'll do is we'll send the person out to go purchase insurance, and you bring that back, and then it'll be reduced down to either no insurance on person or something else. But yeah, so that avoids that. But the people have to protect your own rights and defend yourself, or hire a lawyer and have him defend your rights. But if you just go in there stupid and think you're going to get out cheap, you're going to end up screwing yourself.
Okay, Ray, we're getting within 30 seconds, so we got to go quick.
All right, I'm gonna call maybe later in the show if your lines aren't tied up. But I appreciate this show. It's very helpful, and I'm able to vent a little bit, and I appreciate it. You guys are doing a good job.
Okay,
Thanks.
we got to go to break now. We'll be back shortly.